Brody's Cause on the outside. Final furlong of the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity. Brody's Cause a final try. Brody's Cause and Corey Lannery a tremendous run. Brody's Cause at the 16th pole. Brody's Cause in front. Brody's Cause for Luis Saez to win the Toyota Bluegrass.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift, the Breeders' Farm. I'm Dan Illman, along with Nicole Russo, taking a look at Friday's Spa Baby race, kicking off the Pick 6 with race number 5. We're going 6 furlongs for juvenile fillies. It is a maiden special weight, and let's take a peek at this field. 8 expected to go 3/4 of a mile, several experienced horses, several well-bred first-time starters. And Nicole, I want to start things off with the number 1, Cat's Pajamas. And Bill Mott has had a juvenile debut winner on dirt at this meet, which is a rarity for Mott. Cat's Pajamas, however, is more of a turfy route pedigree in my estimation.
You know, I think so as well. Very productive broodmare who's pulled 5 winners from as many starters. It's the family of a couple of graded place turf routers. I'd like to see this one with a little bit more ground and maybe a surface switch down the line. But you know what? We keep talking about the wet weather hanging around in Saratoga this meet. And if that continues into Friday, the street senses love the mud, and turf pedigrees sometimes take to wet tracks well.
That's a very good point. It is pouring currently as we record this on Wednesday afternoon at Saratoga. Cat's Pajamas might do well and might move up on a wet track, certainly has a 420 Tomlinson that would indicate such. Cat's Pajamas, again, by street sense, half to Candy Kitty, who is a stakes-winning router on both turf and dirt and was a winner as a 2-year-old. Now, the number 2 Kiowa Sunset has raced twice for trainer Wesley Ward on the turf. We're going to take a look at the career debut. Now, she stumbled after the start in this race, rushed up to press, so we're going to see a pretty decent performance for her to finish second. She then showed up at Churchill Downs in her second start, again went off as the favorite, but was saddled with a very difficult outside post position and was forced wide. So while she's been the beaten favorite twice, she has excuses for both races. She obviously has speed, but while she's by Uncle Mo, I see a ton of turf in this family.
You know, I do as well. She's a half to Uncle Benny, who was a stakes winner and ran very well in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf last year. But you know what? Uncle Benny actually broke his maiden on the dirt. The Uncle Mo's obviously run on anything. You can certainly see why Wesley Ward started this one out on turf. That being said, off the 2 defeats, I think she's, you know, a candidate for a move up and a surface switch, and maybe juicy at 5-1 for a barn that can obviously win with 2-year-olds. Kind of an interesting rider note. Irad Ortiz Jr. was up in that good runner-up debut before Garcia got aboard last time. Ortiz gets back aboard for this race on Friday. Maybe liked what he saw.
And the second dam of this filly, Star, really got better as she improved with age on the dirt. She was a multiple Grade 1 stakes winner going long, and Star earned a 111 by her top. Interesting note, Wesley Ward over the past few years with 2-year-olds removing blinkers and moving from turf to dirt in sprints. Well, he's 4 for 4 with about a $5.64 ROI. You can't beat perfect. The 3 is Princess Katie, who made her career debut in a maiden claimer at Laurel. We're going to take a look at that race right now, and it was a good learning experience for Princess Katie, who chased the pace down towards the inside, was under the whip a long way out, and finished evenly along the rail behind an odds-on winner. That being said, she is now stepping up into an open maiden special weight at Saratoga, and I wonder if she would have been better served in looking for one of those maiden auction races earlier in the meet.
Well, I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head there. It's a big step up in class from the maiden claimer to the maiden special weight company. That being said, decent second on debut from a barn that usually needs a start or two to be at their best. Laurel Park, I think pretty highly of the juveniles there. This meets some well-bred, good-looking horses training and running there. And there is some precocity in the female family, including champion juvenile roving boy in there.
Number 4 is Inveterate, going after trainer Dermot Magner. This is a filly from the first crop of Palace Malice, who already has a couple of winners. What are we to expect from Palace Malice? Of course, he's best known for winning the Belmont Stakes at 3, but he was brilliant enough to take the Met Mile at 4.
Yeah, and I think the Met Mile might have been Palace Malice's best performance. He broke from the rail, he carried a high weight, and he was really game to turn back Golden Sense, who was at his best at a mile in the lane. So, I think that and the fact that he was a decent 2-year-old himself, those are good things for Palace Malice's first crop. That being said, he is a Belmont Stakes winner by Curlin, a prominent classic sire. Palace Malice was at his best at ages 3 and 4. I do expect these to improve with age, with distance. I think this one is going to need the precocity that you see in her female family to find success here.
And there is some precocity there. The dam was a debut winner at 2, stakes placed sprinting on dirt as a 2-year-old. Palace Malice has a couple of debut winners already. I believe he is 2 from 8 from his first crop. The 5 is Larry's Baby. This is a daughter of Majestic Perfection, a quick sprinter in his day. He wins with 14% of his 2-year-old first-time starters. And this is the first foal from an unraced half-sister to Wacky Patty, who was a grade 3 stakes-winning sprinter at 2. So there is some speed in this family. Wayne Lucas likes to take his time with these horses.
Yeah, you know what, Wayne Lucas, we keep going back to the statistics, and Wayne Lucas is never afraid to run them, let them go out and have the experience, and he's come out with some good 2-year-olds at Saratoga. He has 3 winners of the Signature Hopeful Stakes in its last 10 runnings, but they do sometimes need that starter too.
Larry's Baby has been working in company, it appears, with Raggedy Annie, who's scheduled to make her debut on Wednesday. So you can see how Raggedy Annie does, perhaps before making your final determination on Larry's Baby. Here's the Larry's Baby formulator fact that Nicole alluded to: 0 for 24 over the past 5 years with juvenile debut runners in maiden special weight dirt sprints at the Spa. The number 6 is Finite, going out for trainer Steve Asmussen, who certainly can fire with a first-time starter at Saratoga. This filly is very well bred, a $200,000 daughter of Munnings and a half to the multiple stakes winner Reride.
Yeah, and looking at Tappet as a broodmare sire, he's really starting to improve as a broodmare sire relatively early in that curve of his career. Looking at the second generation there, obviously the Winchell family so involved in in his stud career as he's continued at Gainesway Farm. They have all of these very good Tappet mares who they've had to look for outside crosses to. I like this cross of Munnings, who could throw a good 2-year-old over a Tappet mare. Tapiture, there's a lot of stamina on this female side, including Tapiture, who could win around 2 turns, but he was a graded performer at 2. And looking just at this very nice family where the Winchells, bought back into this horse after she went through the sale ring, I have to believe that they'd love to, come out with a good performance here and run back in a stakes toward the end of the meet or in the fall. So I do think this one will be ready to fire for Steve Asmussen.
I agree. I expect this horse to be a little bit of a runner, and I like the combination of speed over stamina in the family that you mentioned. Arguably the best bred horse, however, in the race is the number 7, Mrs. Danvers. This is a Joseph Allen homebred by the great Tappet Dam, an unraced half-sister to 5 black-type earners, including Warfront, who is a graded stakes-winning sprinter, a sensational stallion, teammate, a multiple grade 2 winner, and 3 graded place turf horses. So there's really not much you can say about this family except it's all class.
Yeah, and obviously now we talk so much about Warfront as a sire, as now a classic sire, that we forget he was a terrific racehorse in his own right. Obviously we talk a lot about his turf success as a stallion via the Danzig line, but he was a graded winning dirt sprinter. He just, that family throws runners. This one, I might try to beat her, though. Flashy pedigree, some bullet works, very good works at Keeneland before shipping up to New York. But looking at the connections, Shug McGahee, Joseph Allen's stable, I'm wondering if they'd like to take their time. Obviously, this is a well-bred horse who could really have some residual value down the line, I don't think they're going to rush her at all.
I think that's a very good point. Lucas and Shug, they're old school. These are homebreds. There is no rush to get them for any sort of commercial value right away or put them into a sale down the road. Maybe Mrs. Danvers will need a race. Interesting that she did work a bull at 46 at Keeneland. The 8 is Sweet Kisses from the first crop of Carpe Diem. This horse sold very well, $290,000 as a yearling, and has some pedigree. A half to a grade 3 place synthetic miler named Tis Kissable, a half to a grade 2 place dirt sprinter named One True Kiss. And let's take a look at Sweet Kiss's debut for Jeremiah Engelhardt. She showed good speed down towards the inside, was pressed by a horse named Kiss the Girl. And while no match for Kiss the Girl, you'll notice that maybe Sweet Kisses seems a little uncomfortable down on the rail. And heck, Kiss the Girl came back and ran second in the Schuylerville with an 80 buyer. I like this outside post for Sweet Kisses.
Yeah, I think considering the way she ran first time out, I think it'll be to her advantage to be outside of horses. You mentioned that Kiss the Girl came back and certainly flattered her. The first crop of Carpe Diem, as you mentioned, he was very well regarded early on at 2, was a 7-figure 2-year-old purchase early in that year, was a grade 1 winner at 2, around 2 turns at Keeneland, came back to win the Bluegrass the following year, a very classy son of Giants Causeway.
Really fun field, race number 5 at Saratoga. We're expecting a field of 8. There might very well be a wet track. Where are you leaning to right now? Of course, we are before odds. We are before track conditions. And kicking off the pick 6, we urge all the fans to take a look at these horses in the paddock and check out the tote action before making your final decisions.
Yeah, I do think, looking at the 2 favorites here, Finite, I think, is very well meant, as we said. Mrs. Danvers, I think they're not in a rush with her. I do think that this is a race where you could perhaps take it, a little bit of a shot at a price. I'm looking down at Kiowa Sunset for Wesley Ward, who I think could be a very nice price. Switching surfaces, we mentioned, I do think it's a bit of a multi-purpose pedigree. That being said, there is the turf in the family where I think she could relish it if the track does come up wet. But if it's a dry dirt track, I have no qualms there either. I do think it's a versatile pedigree.
And she has speed, and she has Wesley Ward, and that's more than half the battle in many of the 2-year-old races in North America. I'm with you in trying to look for a price in this race. I do respect the Asmussen Firster and would certainly use her in any kind of multiple race wager, but I think the 4 Inveterate is a little interesting for Dermot Magner, who sent out Fierce Lady to a very impressive debut win at Belmont earlier this spring, and Fierce Lady will be running in a stakes race at Saratoga on Thursday, where she's expected to be a heavy favorite. I think Magner does well with these first-time starters. Inveterate has a bullet workout, 6-1 on the morning line for Tyler Gaffalione. That'll be my pick in Friday's Spa Baby race. Nicole's going with the 2, Kiowa Sunset. Our Spa Babies coverage all summer long is presented by Spendthrift, the Breeders' Farm.